fade that down. Oh, you can hear the coins jangling there. Here, we leave it there. Real low. Looping forever. Can pretend we're at my God, I forget the name of the school. Blackstone. Black Reef. Black. Umbrella Academy. I don't know what it was called. I'm forgetting. I am blanking on the name of the school in Life is Strange. I'm hoping somebody can fill me in. Well, good evening to you too, Q. How are you doing? I'm not wearing a sweatsuit. I am wearing, I'm going to have a hoodie on. I have the jacket on over. Because it's cold. Does it look like I just came in from a run? I'll take it. If it does. Had I just gone on a run, you would know it because I would not be able to speak. Oh, hey, Amy. Oh, that's interesting. So you're kind of on call. If someone zooms in, you gotta take it. That's it, Blackwell. Yes. Blackwell Academy. Well, Q, you'll notice the side light tonight is also a cooler temperature. I decided to go I'm sure you can hear the air just kicked on, the heat. I decided to go with a color that's more reflective of the season. We have another large winter storm headed our way tomorrow. It's been crap. What? No. Just for men. I would never purchase a product that has a gender-based name like that. Women don't dye their hair? I mean, I did dye my hair, but it's a couple of weeks ago now. It's lighter than it was in the last. It's actually taken longer to fade this time. I thought it would have faded some more by now. Yeah. Pero que no. All right, let me say hi to people. Colorful Dreams, Pivy, Lexi, KJ, on 55th. Are you keeping it 5-5? Keeping it 5-5 for all the beauties and the cuties and the wait, no, he won't say C's, right? He'll say B's. Whatever you do, never commit something. Well, tell Paul that. That's kind. I felt it, and I've been feeling it, honestly, right? Like it's best that I'm just honest and upfront. I've been feeling sort of a lack of a lot of things, a lack of motivation, a lack of, I think it really comes from so I went back. Well, let me say, I'm saving that for a moment until I just kind of say hi to everybody. Hi, Kitty Cat. Hey, Warp Raven. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Olivia, I hope you're doing well too. I just say I'm doing well. I'm doing. Hey, Katarina, you made it. It's good to see you. And Ava, good to see you too. And LQ. And this person who answered the question that I blanked on. And this person who I don't know how to pronounce it. hello. Give me phonetic way to pronounce your name. Winter or summer? Winter. I am just outside of Washington, D.C., so where today, moments ago, an hour ago, the Supreme Court declined to allow the injunction to stand preventing Trump's documents from being called while he was president. So his executive privilege does not extend to the documents he was trying to make it extend to. A trope we should all be familiar with him by now. He can't show you his tax returns yet because he's in the middle of an audit. The IRS says he can still release his tax returns. Being an audit doesn't stop you from releasing your tax returns. And he just said the same thing again. He asserted his executive privilege because he didn't want to reveal secrets that would be dangerous. It would be dangerous to the sovereignty of the United States. I mean, yeah, if Belgium got their hands on these secrets that he had, we would have been in trouble. Would have been Poirot at the front line, leading the charge with these little grey cells. As the Belgian army would march, not leaving any stone unturned. And now he's out of office, and he's trying to keep stuff secret anyway. Of course, it's all delay. Like his life is delay. He knows he's operating on like the timer of his life expectancy. And his lawyers are like, look, if you can delay this for like 5 more years, we're not going to have a problem because you'll be dead. Right. So, yeah, it's all a waiting game with him. But that happened also when Biden gave his, speaking of old people, possibly unqualified to hold high executive office. Although it's certainly like, yeah, okay. Do I think Biden is cognitively impaired? I do. I don't know that it's like where, I certainly don't have the expertise to be able to identify how deep-seated it is, if it's more of a speech impediment, as he claims, right? Or if it possibly runs deeper than that. He was able to do a 2.5-hour press conference, fielding questions relatively well, certainly more presidential than we've seen in a long time. He was able to make some jokes, and he was able to lie. So that's a good hallmark of if you're fit for office. You have to be able to lie with a straight face and convincingly, which, well, I guess it was. He delivered it with fervor that he has never had a racist bone in his body. He really should have probably said something more like, in the past 20 years, I have not had a racist bone in my body. Or in the past 20 years, I've not shown much racism apart from, misspeaking from time to time. But prior to that, I didn't look this up yet, but the early 80s, I think he was still against, or he was against desegregating busing. So that's racist. And even then it was racist. It was Martin Luther King Day a couple of days ago. So, we got to watch a bunch of Republicans. Sorry, being political. But got to watch a bunch of Republicans misquote his most famous. Like, everybody should know at least that section of the "I Have a Dream" speech. But the thing is, if you tweak it just a little, if you tweak it just a bit, if you just change 2 or 3 words, you can make it sound like Martin Luther King was saying critical race theory is bad. And wow, that's exactly what the Republicans did. So instead of saying, I'm about to put my foot in my mouth as I say, everybody should at least know this part. But the way that he expressed, you should be judged by the content of your character. He dreams of a day when we could all be judged by the content of our character, or not the color of our skin, but the content of our character. And he doesn't say, let's all judge each other right now by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. He says he wants that day to happen. He's dreaming of that day happening. But if you make that little change, it immediately, you can kind of twist it to sound like an indictment of critical race theory. And that's what people were doing left and right. At least 3. Maybe that's not left and right, but I saw at least 3. So it's always fun to see that kind of shit appropriated for almost exactly the diametrically opposite end of what its original intention was. And you would think that's a hard thing to misquote, like the intention would be difficult to miss. Anybody listening to somebody like phrasing it in a way that, like, you have to have the environment in which you can judge people only on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. You can't just go from one day having all of these racist systemic institutions that are taking wealth away from minorities and institutionalizing it with the white middle upper class, and then just say, okay, well, now we're going to just, hey, guess what? Racism is bad. Let's just only judge people on the content of their character, and let's just kind of ignore anything like any idea of like making up for the massive inequality that we created and we don't want to acknowledge now. And if you acknowledge it, it means you're racist. That's a pretty infuriating argument. And you'd think it would be pretty see-through. There's some straight faces though, right? But there were straight faces at the Biden press conference as well. And to hear him tell it, he had an incredible first year. He even said, well, he implied, he didn't actually say, at least he had the decorum to not state that he'd done more in his first year than any other president, but he did heavily imply it, stating that he'd gotten challenging reporters. He is a rather combative person, and I don't know if he thinks that comes off as like, well, you better watch it, don't take any crap. It does come off as, to me at least, as a grumpy old man. I think to a lot of people probably comes off that way, but he's pretty combative. He was turning questions around to reporters, not infrequently. And the question that he would pose would be, name another president who's done more in his first year, or who was handed a worse tray, I think is what he said, coming into office than him. Reporters aren't presidents. Reporters shouldn't. I am all about journalistic integrity and avoiding gotcha questions and all of that kind of stuff, right? And an extremely polite person who was so overtly polite. Like, coming up to his question, he was with Newsmax, so you knew right away it wasn't going to be good. But was he stroking those feathers before he popped that question. He was saying, with the utmost respect for your past record and your lifetime of experience, and so much that you've given to public service. I ask you this with the utmost respect and deference for those facts. And my question is, why does everybody, even in your party, think that you are cognitively impaired? Being cognitively impaired is not funny, but when I was watching this and hearing him go on this sort of presaging his question with this just like, you just knew it. I mean, it was almost Saturday Night Live-ish. Saturday Night Live for the young kids. That's a comedy sketch show that's shot and shown live every Saturday night out of New York City. You may have seen clips of it on YouTube. Sorry, I'm bitter about turning 50 this year. That's why I dyed my fucking hair. I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want to be in that decade. I don't like the thought. It's getting to me. It's been getting under my skin. It's been making me question a lot of things. So things have got to change. Oops. That's the problem with putting coins in to weight down your microphone. Those are coins. Good. And they're not even real coins. They're fake coins. Show you what I got in there. Oh, shit. It's not going well. I was worried these things would fall out. But now I just may never be able to get them out at all. Okay, forget it. They're fake coins. Do I have any? No, I only have the little ones. This looks like a penny. It's not actually a penny, but the little ones I don't use because those do fall out. Anyway, weight it down with coins. Otherwise, I'm doing this all the time. As people have noticed in the past, remove about, 3 ounces, 4 ounces worth of coin from this shock mount. And the arm tension slowly does that. Ooh, wait a minute. Do I have a cut on this? Look at that. I do. I have a low cut on this mic. I didn't even know I had that on. See here. We don't want any. Look at that. That's horrible. Now I sound super trebly. Where's the baritone? Gonna get all that bass back. All of it. If y'all ever notice, those lights are not both to screen right. That's where both of those LEDs should be. All right. Let's look through. So I've been, oh, hey, Writing with Ink is here. Otherwise known as Indigo. Otherwise known as Pain in My Ass. Whom I love, I think is great. You didn't miss nothing. You're missing something. By being here, you're missing something. I can't tell you what you're missing, but you're missing something else that you could be doing in this time. $200 to get highlights. Well, these aren't highlights. I mean, if I wanted to get highlights, it would. Well, you're right, though. I'm not going to. You're right. It is like getting your hair cut it's ridiculous. When I'm like, man, I got a really expensive haircut today. It was $60. If I'm with or around someone who identifies as a woman, they will generally look at me and kind of chuckle. $60 is bargain basement prices, which I don't get it. I mean, I get it. I get it. but I don't get it. Like even so, if you have really long hair and you're just getting a trim, why is that so much money? I understand balayage costs a lot of money. I get it. That I get. But I'm not. I just don't. I don't understand. It's because more care has to be taken. I don't know. Seems like it's not that much more difficult, and in fact, might be easier if all you're doing is like going. If someone has hair that's down here and they just want trim the split ends, that seems easier. You have more room to mess up. If someone has short hair and you cut one hair or one area of hair like a half an inch too short, you're fucked. So I don't know. I think there's a gender inequality there. At the same time, the solution there is probably for men's haircuts to go up in price. The problem with that is if that happens, most men, myself included, will just cut their hair. At home, I pretty much do that already, more or less. Oh, Olivia's going to Belgium for 2 weeks. I hear they have good chocolate. I wasn't keeping up, Indigo, so I don't know now what you were referring to. You said a bunch of stuff, so I'm not sure which thing are you questioning. Hey, Bryant. Yeah, they know the two lines and they purposefully misrepresent them. Much like a lot of right-wing commentators will imply that they were at the January 6th insurrection, but then act like they'll do that kind of thing like, well, I can't tell you where I was on January 6th. You know where I was. I can't say it because that's incriminating. But I think you know where I was. But they weren't, most of them. I watched Andrew Callahan's interview with the Viking king from the January 6th insurrection. The man scored a 45-minute interview with the Viking king in jail, right? And it was fascinating. It was just, and all Andrew did was let this guy talk, and that was exactly what he should have done. The guy has he's a kid. I mean, he's not a kid, but he's very young, and yet his sensibilities are he seems to have a good amount of, he knows people, and he seems to be able to know when people are going to dig themselves deeper into a hole, and then the minimum that he can say to get them to continue and not let them sort of catch on that he's making fun of them. And man, what was so fascinating about this interview, and if any of you don't know Channel 5, I would check it out. This formerly All Gas No Breaks, but now he just calls it Channel 5. Just look for Channel 5 on YouTube. Pop up. It's basically this kid, Andrew Callahan, who goes around the country in a mobile home and goes to all of these, he'll go to Burning Man, but he'll go to biker conventions and all kinds of different. Hey, there was someone in the chat who was referencing Keeping It 55th. That's from Channel 5. Anyway, I'm going off too much on that. He was interviewing the Viking king from January 6th. And what was frustrating about that to me is the guy is not stupid, right? The guy has, in an alternate universe, he might be very smart, right? Like it's weird because it's predicated on belief. Like he was following what he believes would be like this logical progression of conspiracies, right? But he's equating just like throwing in really, really out there conspiracies with real conspiracy. Like he's peppering the truth with these outrageous lies. So, in one breath he might mention MK Ultra, and in the next breath he's talking about Pizzagate, right? So, and it's when you do that, it's like, well, okay, let me fact check this person, and you look up MK Ultra, and you say, oh gosh, MK Ultra is real. Holy crap, we did that. Operation Paperclip is real. Oh my god. All the other stuff this guy said is probably, even if it's not true, it's probably like part true. But that's where I forget what that fallacy is called, but there's a fallacy that describes that method of thinking of, if I say you stole $1,000 from me and you didn't, but I tell people that you did, there's a chance that they're going to be like, well, maybe they didn't steal 1,000, but probably stole at least like 500. It's almost like a conscious sort of effort to say, if we split the difference, that's probably the truth. If we just split the difference, which is not the truth, because what that does is it like breeds the only thing that succeeds in doing is making sure that authors of conspiracy theories are as fringe as they can possibly make themselves, because in doing that, they can assure that, well, even if someone only believes 10% of this, they're going to be swallowing that pill pretty hard. Whoa. I'm frankly, no. I get 8 more months of not being an old man. This is, no. 49, I'm not an old man yet. Dude, Biden's 80. No, he's older than, he's 80, right? I hope I'm anywhere near I hope I'm alive when I'm 80. Why do we have 80-year-olds running the country? Remember Barack Obama? There was some youthful vigor there. That was, I was going to say remember Kennedy, but there's good and bad. You get young people in office, or younger people in office, I should say, and there's a whole nother set of, let's say, skeletons that can come out to haunt them. But, Clinton was no spring chicken, and yet he sprung his chicken many times, much to the dismay of his long-suffering wife. Hey, Nick. It's true. It's true. There have been so many good casts throughout the year. Like, you can go back and pick, like, every 15 years or so, there's like a cast that is full of superstars. And then you have these kind of in-between times where people are kind of drifting in and out, and you have a bunch of people who aren't really contributing very much. I will say, I really like Sarah Shower. Sarah Shower. Don't know how to pronounce her name, but she's freaking funny. But yeah, like the writing has been crap. I'm just not a fan of like the Weekend Update. I'm not a fan of the Colin Jost, Michael Che Weekend Update team. I feel like that's gotten really, really old and tired. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Saturday Night Live. Let's not talk about Saturday Night Live. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, it's going to go away. Like, it should have gone away by now. Maybe because I'm not bathing so much? Should I reveal that? I bathe maybe every other day, maybe once a week. Perhaps I have not bathed. If you drink enough water, you don't need to bathe. Excuse me. Yeah, well, he's an old-fashioned warmongering capitalist, right? So he's definitely not immune to colonization efforts. I think pulling out of Afghanistan is one of the good things that he did. Now, the reasons why he did it and the method and the execution of how it was done, I don't know much about this, so I'm speaking out of my ass, but it seems to me like there never would have been a good time to do it, and there never would have been a good way to do it, and that was why we were there for 2 decades. And if nobody, to me, that was like one show of like, even though we kind of blew it, that was like I'm going to take this hit because I know it's for the greater good. America needs to be, the United States of America needs to completely leave the business of colonization and empowering nation states that we think support our interests in parts of the country that just by some sheer coincidence have some kind of wonderful natural resource that we can. That's almost as annoying as the thing floating up, isn't it? Hearing that sound. No stealing. Fuck you, Indigo. You seem 26. Yeah, like there's a period of my life where I remember when the movie This Is 40 came out, and I was like 38 when that movie came out. And I remember also being like, that's cool, man. Like, this is kind of the zeitgeist is sort of with me still a little bit at this point. The movers and shakers, when I went onto IMDb and you look at the people who've had birthdays that day, if half of them were older than you were, felt pretty good. Not the case so much anymore. Although Betty White made it to 99. I'm a man. I shan't see that I'm a man, and my grandfather on my mother's side had a heart attack at 33 years old. My mother had a heart attack at 55 or something like that. So I'm taking a statin. We'll see. But as I've said before, like I've definitely noticed the physical changes much more. If you go back and like watch a video I did like 6 years ago, the difference is pretty pronounced. The difference in the way I speak even. And the fat in my face. Like if you look at a video of mine from 6 years ago, my face is just like, it almost looks like I'm on prednisone or something, but like in a good way. I think. Like there was always this line. Like I've had this line since I was about 14 years old. But yeah, I lament it. I rue it. Nico, when you say this, what do you mean? When you say democratic, are you referring to the party or the system? Yeah, that's pretty much what happens, right? Yeah, it seems like that's right, Katharina. Nick, you're probably 19. I apologize if you're not. Oh, shit. Let me catch up here. Not sure what this. Oh, happy birthday, Warp Raven. Oh, people are talking about Channel 5. Okay, all right. So I'm sensing where we are here. Let me move on. Okay, if there's something I missed that you'd really like me to address, please say it again, because I'm almost at the end here of the comments. Hey there, Jack. That is another member of SNL now who is very good, is James Austin Johnson. His Trump is, it's almost too good, right? Like, it's almost too good because it's almost, but he also has an uncanny ability to be funny. So, but it's an excellent try. It really shows, like, we've gotten so used to horrible Trumps, like Alec Baldwin's Trump. Terrible, right? It's just like it's a clown doing a clown. But when it comes to nuance, they've got it now. Your shower is about to submit a missing person report. I don't know what that. Oh, got you. Oh, because this is when I was talking. Okay, let me get. I'm never going to get context unless I jump to the bottom. Oh, hey, Maddie. Glad I didn't. And hey, a new 742. And I'm scanning the avatars here. Oh my gosh, Muzz. How are you doing, Muzz? I saw Muzz has a very funny short video up now about appeasing the YouTube gods. If you have not checked out his channel, obviously I recommend checking out his channel, but that video I found quite funny. Wait a minute. I don't want makeup. I don't want concealer. I want all of my flaws to show. Like, if anything, I emphasize my flaws. It's very easy to hide your flaws on camera, especially if we're talking about like sun damage. Super easy to do that. Everybody does it. You just blow out the exposure. But I don't like doing that. I'll do it right now. Show you what I'm talking about. Watch, I'm gonna lose. Man, shit. Sorry, I just read some crappy news. Everybody is testing positive for COVID around me. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? It's me, Finishing Sailor, here giving you some ASMR. I love Pentatonics. They're great. BTS. Rock on. Cool, that shit's fat. No, I like texture. I like texture everywhere. I mean, some of it I like more than other. Some texture I like more than others. Now this does seem a little too dark. Was I at 800? I don't know what ISO was at. Ooh, look at that. That's kind of cool. I like that. I don't remember if I was at 1,000 or 800, but I'm going with 800. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough maintaining this what sounds like a smoker's voice. Well, I was on a you know what's humbling? I was on a Skype call a week ago with ASMR Atlas. That was humbling because that person he was cut from some kind of different cloth, and his voice and his facial structure and oh, need some water. I can't tell you why, except no, I can't tell you why. We're working on something. Makeup artist and stylist, but I like doing that stuff, Olivia. I enjoy that. I have a box full of scar tissue and makeup, and I love, like, the thing I love most is taking rigid collodion and just drawing all over my face with it. In fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. Be right back. See if I can not get this covered. Hold on. I'll be right back. It's my makeup case. I can't hear a damn thing. Because this is the coolest stuff, I think, in the universe. Well, that's not. What's in my makeup box, you might ask? Lots of extensions. Lots of hair extensions. Lots of liquid latex. Liquid latex is good. And this 3D putty, I like this 3D putty. It's called Extra Flesh. I use it a lot. You just take some, and just kind of like smear it somewhere on your face, and just, you can't use too much, but there. Now you can kind of see, like, it'll create like just some weird texture. See, for the light to do stuff with. And I use this a lot too. Charred ash powder. This is really, you gotta be really careful with this. Shit. Get one of these super porous sponges. Dip it into a little charred ash powder and just dirty up your face a bit. But this thing I wanted to actually show you. Shit, I got that. That stuff's like goop. I don't have anything to wipe my hands on. And if you want to be Joker, you can have your clown white. Right? All right, this is the stuff. Oh, shut up. I generally get it. When I get this stuff, I get it in small. Oh, I got shit all over my hands. If you don't have context, it's going to be very odd if you just kind of walked into this bloody hands and a dirty face. I generally get this in the small bottles, because if you get it in the big bottles, if you don't use it quick enough, it can dry out, and also it's more prone to breakage. But you just take this stuff, and you'll see it happen right before your eyes. Let's see the other side. Sometimes you got to do a few layers. Then kind of crunch your face up a little bit. A lot of times I'll do it like on the bridge of my nose. And there you can see it starting to work here. It just kind of looks like a scar. Here it didn't work out too well. I'll give it a little time to dry. It basically just, as it dries, it contracts and it pulls your skin. Oh God, I cannot leave this out. Like, this is literally like such fine black powder. I've had some real, some serious mishaps with that. Anyway, so better now. Like, look, when I move my forehead, how it, like, this one is just too shiny. I would take that one off. And then sometimes after it dries a little bit, yeah, look at that. It's perfect. Perfect scar. And people are like, what, are you getting in a fight? What happened? Yeah, I got in a fight. Watch out. I'm a fighter. Okay. So I'll leave this on for the remainder of the evening. Oh, yeah, I guess I spoke about this. Oh, I can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel it. It almost feels like you have a little bit of a sunburn or something. There you go, Warp Raven. So Warp Raven has done stuff with this a lot, or probably a lot more complicated than that stuff. But yeah, it's literally no effort. It's just like where you want a scar, there you go. Lovely. And the way the light shines on it, I'll often like construct the lighting so that it really kind of highlights whatever I do there. Oh, hey, it's the Fawns. Good to see you, the Fawns. It has been a while. But yeah, that's my makeup bag box. Anyway, yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, and it's not the first time. That, and then also I have this reddish Texas powder that I use. I'm not loving this, but it's just gonna mix with the waxy extra flesh. Okay, actually that looks kind of interesting. Let's leave it like that. There. Okay. Do I look 50 now? How about now? Oh, that's good. That's good. So yeah, I enjoy. I mean, when you're doing an ASMR video, like your face takes up so much real estate. Like I feel like, and everyone who does ASMR, most people do ASMR, who have some interest in the visual side of it, they spend so much time, lighting. I even got it all over. Even being careful, it just got all over this. Just nothing. Crap. You spend so much, and now look, one of the coins fell out. Or was that the pen? I don't know. Maybe it was the pen. You spend so much time getting the lighting nice, right? And then you just have your face. Generally, you will have your face just kind of blown out. Or a lot of people will do this thing. It's like an Instagram filter called Cosmo. Gets rid of all the imperfections. To me, that kind of ruins you have this large piece of real estate on the screen, i.e. your face. Why not make it like, why not put interesting shit on it, right, to look at? Well, I mean, do 50-year-olds play in the dirt? So it's about context. Can you, right? You asked for this, Q.
More than what we think we deserve.
Oh, no, this is interesting. I saw this in the bump maps. Give me flashbacks. Bump maps, normal maps. Who knows what kind of maps they have now when I left the industry. Normal maps were relatively new. When I left the art side of the industry, not when I left the gaming industry. Thank you, KDA. Another John Wick. Well, when John Wick 4 comes out, I'll probably do something like that. Yeah. Wait, what? Don't do that, Q. Because you do that and then it makes me want to disable it, but I don't want to disable it. I've been thinking about it, like a lot of stuff, right? Like my Patreon's still up. Let me get back to the reason that I'm here. It's going to be difficult to take me seriously. I know I'm looking the way that I do now, but let's just go with it. Yeah, this has been interesting. Like, and I've dealt with, like, should I even have a beard? Because it does reduce the efficacy of masks. And I've felt a little bit bad about that. But I do have a beard. But basically, yeah, like masks have reduced most people to their eyes, right? And then you're just kind of imagining, you're probably like doing a best case scenario from here down, which if you did that for me, my nose, this would not be the nose that you imagined, and this would not be the jaw that you imagined, I would not think. But it's funny, I went for a doctor's appointment and the doctor came in, wearing a mask, and like it was funny how much I was just like, oh, the eyes. Like it's just, my doctor has nice eyes. So I can find my doctor aesthetically pleasing. So I've been thinking about what has been working, what hasn't been working, what I've been enjoying, what I haven't been enjoying, what I want to do. I went back and like looked at some older of these things, how they started, what I was doing, when they started and what the intent was. The debt collector. Boy, this is not gonna go well for me. The debt collector. What was the debt collector? I don't remember that. You got to remember, like sometimes these names, I'll just come up with like at the last minute, and I won't think much about them. I'm not getting it. What the heck was the debt collector? What was the debt collector? I don't know what it is. I'm not getting a hit. Images for the debt collector. I'm getting everything's going to be okay. Shit, what is the debt collector? How am I not remembering this? Oh, shit. Oh, no, my God. No. Oh, yeah. I want to erase that. I don't want that to exist. That was, I've evolved since then in my sensibilities of what I find appropriate in a video. And I know Q called me out because I was like, okay, well, I'm over videos where, um, I'm over videos where you're kidnapped and I'm going to murder you, right? I don't want to do that content anymore. I did the Night Watchman one, but you weren't kidnapped. It's really like the fetishization of kidnap and torture that I wanted to get away from. And yet I'm like finding myself going back to storylines that are kind of like it's a very specific niche I want to avoid. Like I don't want to appeal to somebody. Yeah, it isn't there anymore. Yeah, I removed it. Because it was basically like, it was a story about, I mean, I never even posted the whole thing. It was a story that I wrote about assault, and then somebody stopping it, right? Like a revenge. It was like revenge, the typical kind of male revenge fantasy enactment. And when I wrote it, maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that. But yeah. I don't know, man. I don't really give it that. I don't care that much about the sanctity of life, like when it comes to life and death. I care more about what happens while you're alive. I don't really care so much about, I mean, I do care, obviously, but this is annoying me. This is like kind of Harry Potterish in its shape. Yeah, no kidnap, just murder. I draw the line at kidnap. But I just wanted to get away with that. And I, it also felt kind of facile to me. Like, it's just like, all right, I'm doing another one of these. I did one, based on the John Goodman Cloverfield, 16 Cloverfield Lane or whatever it was called. But that guy ended up being good. And I'm thinking of doing another one right now, that I would call the Omega variant. And the sort of idea behind that is, if you're on variant, umpteen 120, and I have found you and I'm trying to keep you alive. So it's sort of a doctor video, except I'm not a doctor. I'm shit. This is really not looking great, is it? I'm not a doctor. I'm just like someone who doesn't want to be alone, right? And everybody's dead, basically. And I thought the joke there could be that the viewer dies, and I, as the person ministering to you, refuse to acknowledge the fact that you have already died. So, saying things like, you finally have brought your fever down. It's good. You're at 73 degrees. That's well below the threshold for a fever. Stuff like that, So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, I appreciate that, Amy. That very much, I think, like kind of came together in post. I didn't really have that too well thought out beforehand. I just knew I was watching Chernobyl, the series about Chernobyl, the Chernobyl incident, the meltdown of the nuclear reactor in Pripyat, outside Pripyat. And they had an episode called "Please Remain Calm." And to me, that, like, it struck me like those words to me are horrifying. can you think of like all the implications that someone saying, it's like someone coming to you before telling you something and saying like, no, I don't want you to freak out. Okay, you need to sit down, or like just all these words that are like, please remain calm. Don't tell me that. Oh, what's up, Q? You want you want me to get back on track? It sounds like Q wants me to get back on track. Maybe I can do that. All right. Well, I was going to do it, but Maddie built a shelf for her grandparents, for their grandparents. Don't want to assume gender. Sorry, Maddie. Was it a bookshelf? Speaking of books, when I was last in Florida, I went through some of my mother's old stuff, and that includes some of my father's old stuff. And as most of you probably know, my father was a psychiatrist, a psychoanalyst, really, like kind of when you think of the epitome of like what a 70s Freudian psychoanalyst was. And so I have a bunch of books of his, and this was one that I picked up this last time when I was down there. The Psychology of Women. And it's got some very interesting insights in here on women. It's worth noting it's by a woman, written by a woman, Helene Deutsch. It's published in 1945. And I thought I might just read a small passage of Dr. Deutsch's ideas about women and their brains as they were understood in the first half of the 20th century. This is actually the epilogue that I'm reading from, is the epilogue. And the epilogue is entitled The Climacterium, or the Climacterium. Climacterium. Okay. Woman's capacity for reproduction normally lasts as long as menstruation is regular. With the cessation of this function, she ends her service to the species. The end of menstruation indicates that ovulation has ceased and that the whole glandular apparatus has interrupted or decreased its activity. The genital organs become atrophied, and the rest of the body gradually shows symptoms of aging. This phase of a woman's life is called menopause. The climacterium. And in a wider sense, the change of life or the critical period. It is indeed critical, and whatever influence the changes in hormonal activity may exert upon the whole psychosomatic picture. We're talking about psychosomatism right there in the first paragraph. There is no doubt that the mastering of the psychological reactions to the organic decline is one of the most difficult tasks of a woman's life. You might say of anyone's life, right? Like that, just getting into that phase of life. But I guess men, I really want to get that piece off. Men can have children well into their 70s, I'm told. Usually the climacterium has a preliminary phase marked by certain phenomena that presage the end. Menstruation becomes irregular, appears at longer or shorter intervals, and the amount of discharge increases or decreases. Vasomotor disturbances appear, the characteristic hot flushes, sensations of dizziness, sweating, These are often accompanied by headaches, neuralgia, etc. As a rule, all the subjective physical complaints of this period of life are considered as climacterial and are explained on the basis of the modified glandular function. All the subjective physical complaints of this period of life are considered as climacterial. So to me, that maybe I'm misreading it, but that kind of like speaks to me of, the fact that doctors on a whole, psychiatrists and whatever, primary practitioners, whatever it is, are less inclined to take a woman's complaints about illness seriously, attribute it to psychosomatic origins more readily than they would male. The argument for this is that men have been indoctrinated into not being stoic, right? Not complaining. Even though women have children, like literally bear children, and pity the man who would ever have to do that, would probably spend most of the time crying. I know when my ex-wife was pregnant with my son, there were so many times when I was just like, oh my God, like I can't believe that, like, it's such a huge thing. It's so disruptive. It's so uncomfortable. It's so difficult. And it's the only way that the human species continues to exist. It's amazing to me that pregnancy is so difficult. So that particular passage there, as a rule, all the subjective physical complaints in this period of life are considered as climacterial and are explained on the basis of the modified glandular function. So basically, any woman complaining of anything, if they're in that phase of life, it's like, okay, climacterial. Must be menopause. What's that? You have chest pain and it radiates down your left side, and neck pain, and shortness of breath, menopause. I think that's menopause. The same is true of the psychological symptoms that appear at this time: insomnia, anxiety states, excitability, depressions. The whole course of the climacterium is undoubtedly determined by the fact that with the cessation of ovarian activity, the remainder of the endocrine system is deranged in its functioning. I'm not making that up. And maybe there is like a medical usage of the word deranged. This is a textbook. This is not meant for the common man, common woman, whatever. So I don't know if deranged has like a meaning that doesn't sound as horrible as it does in this context. Sounds pretty bad though. The individual manifestations of the climacterium, however, greatly depend on a given woman's personality. At least they're admitting that women have personalities. Weiss and English have formulated this interrelationship. One may say that the glandular function seems to furnish an impetus to the psychologic processes, but that there must be a well-integrated psychologic structure which can do something intelligent for the emotional needs of the individual who possesses the glands. Wow. I just read this first page here. I didn't even read that. But that is quite a quote. One may say that the glandular function seems to furnish an impetus to the psychologic processes. Okay, so what the glands are doing, the changes in hormonal changes, what's happening to their bodies, are providing a grounds for the psychological issues, right? But there must be a well-integrated psychologic structure, like a brain. Is that what's being talked about there? There must be a well-integrated psychologic structure which can do something intelligent. That's a brain, right? I'm not sure if which can do something intelligent for the emotional needs of the individual who possesses the glands. So because you possess these glands, they're going to be doing things to you, and what they do to you largely depends on how smart you are. The climacterium is under the sign of a narcissistic mortification that is difficult to overcome. In this phase, woman loses all she received during puberty. All the blessings that woman received during puberty are taken away. All of them. All of them. With the onset of the genital retrogressive processes, the beauty-creating activity of the inner glandular secretions declines, and the secondary sex characteristics are affected by a gradual loss of femininity. I mean, there are biological processes that happen to us all when we reach a certain age, right? Pointing some of them out on me today, but I don't think that anyone would write or would have written at this time that my ability to cope with them would be dependent on whether or not I had a brain. While still organically capable of conception, woman feels the threatened devaluation of the genitals as organs of reproduction. This inner signal, combined with her perception of the first signs of old age, heightens the woman's interest in her own person. A struggle for the preservation of femininity, now in the process of disappearance, sets in. This struggle fills out the pre-climacterial life period before the genital function has really stopped. So you get really obsessed with your physicality in that area and your femininity. You undergo a sort of a puberty spring in a way, right? Even though everything's been taken away from you. Oh shit! I did not know that this was the next sentence. We can compare this period to pre-puberty. Just as was the case then, there is a thrust of activity. I'm sure that word was chosen with deliberate care. Now, too, all the forces of the ego are mobilized to achieve a better adjustment to reality. The old values crumble, and a drive to experience something new, exciting, makes itself felt. Sounds like midlife crisis, like what they would attribute to just kind of a standard midlife crisis in a guy, in a cis male. Right? Yeah, so, and then it goes on to talk about this can manifest itself as, after many years of interruption of the reproductive service, they will feel a strong urge to become pregnant and re-experience motherhood. Despite the urgency of other important life interests, despite their absorption into the problems of their grown-up children, often even against their conscious will, they give life to one or two late-born children before the closing of the gates, so to speak. Often even against their conscious will, so they're not even aware of it. One has the impression that even if sterility has already set in, it may yield to the woman's passionate wish to still be capable of reproduction. Yeah, it's great. You want to be done with this portion? I think I'm 65% femininity and falling. I mean, I think it's fascinating to just kind of see the lens through which, I mean, this is a doctor, a female doctor, one who was of quite a bit of renown. And this is not even a century ago. Right? There was even a newspaper clipping that my father must have taken. And it's actually, it's kind of, it's critical of Helen Deutsch. It's called The Freudian Apostle of Passivity. And it basically talks about how Freud was no fan of women. He certainly did not think that there was any kind of equality really between the sexes. So I find some comfort in the fact that while my father owned that book, he also had a newspaper clipping in there that kind of debunked a lot of the sort of outdated premises that were presented therein. All right, we can move on. Oh, good night, Amy. This is, physician, heal thyself, right? Oh, some people playing Skyrim for the first time with the new 11th. I don't know what number we're at. It's a 10th anniversary, but yeah, I've recently got it. I installed it. I played it for about an hour, but I could not really get back into it. I just know it too much at this point, really. I think that's the problem. And it looks the same now in reality as it did in my memory anyway. So it's not really adding that much. I do still think, like, so let's see if we can do this. I do still firmly believe that the Skyrim trailer, the original Skyrim trailer, is one of the great game trailers of all time. I mean, I think it's brilliant. I think they did a fantastic job on it. It's not, I don't think, at least, that it is my my bias that is making me think that. However, there is like something interesting about it. Every time I watch it, I can't get this out of my head. Let's see if we can do this. Yeah, it's kind of working. We're gonna get sound. We're not getting sound, are we? Can I fix this? Why no sound? Y'all are not hearing sound to this, right? I don't see it anywhere. But all this is unmuted. No, I don't want to. Let's come back here. All right. I'm not sure why I'm not getting sound. No sound, huh? Well, I can show it without the sound. It's not prepared correctly to do this. And still get the point across, I think. So it's got, well, I mean, it's a shame because it's got great sound. Why am I not? What? This is frustrating me. Now I feel like I must. Oh, I'm an idiot. I muted the site. I'm such a ridiculous human being sometimes. Sorry about that. I screwed it up. Now we can do this properly. So, okay. I'm sure most of you have seen this trailer before. Maybe not all of you, but most of you. But it has such a great sort of, it has a great end. Everything about it, I think, is pretty brilliant, in my opinion.
You should have acted. They're already here.
Of course, you know who's speaking there. It's Max von Sydow, who is brilliant.
The Elder Scrolls told of their return.
All right, skipping around a little bit so we won't get struck too hard if we do get struck. But it's just wonderful kind of going back and forth between this bas relief and moving through the world, which for the time looked pretty fantastic. Although if you look at that hand right now, you can't really see too well because of me. That doesn't look fantastic, but
no one wanted to believe.
And you got to also remember, like, anyone who had played Elder Scrolls up until this point was like, where are the dragons? There's no dragons. When are we going to see dragons?
Believe they
the shadow, wonderful introduction.
And when the truth finally dawns
in fire.
It dawns in fire.
Amazing. Okay, and so then there's this battle between the dragon and, you know, the dude. Everything is super epic.
There's one they fear.
Introduce the Dovahkiin.
In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin. Dragonborn.
Brilliant. Right, don't want to listen to that too much. And so that's all super epic, right? I think. This is not really true, Manu. Most of this is in engine. It was in engine. Not all of it, but I would not say a lot of it is fake. Most of it was in engine. All this is in engine. Let me turn down the volume because. Now, was it in engine on a PC, you know, at maxed out resolution and text resolution, etc.? Was it optimized in any way? Probably not. But they're showing all this amazing stuff that for the time was really amazing. You got to remember, especially the water. I remember the water in Skyrim was, again, at the time, pretty revolutionary. Okay, everything looks great, I think. Right. And for the time, even I remember thinking this, oh, this looks fantastic. And then that's what I'm talking about. Okay. You were just shown some awesome looking hunting, fighting a fucking dragon, amazing looking cities. And then what does the magic look like? What's the magic like in this world? What does it look like when you cast like a powerful spell? Looks like this. Bloop. They should have cut that out. They should not have left that in. Bloop. Let me cast a magic bloop. I mean, that looks terrible. I just remember watching this trailer and be like, what the hell? Like, it's all about everything looks incredible. And they leave in that little blue ball of generic looking magic. And even like, you know, when you absorb the soul of the dragon, that's the way it looked in game when you absorb the soul of the dragon, which looked great. I applaud their FX artists. Some of them were really fantastic, and the music here. But then, the touch of genius. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it doesn't look quite like that here. And then it just kind of keeps the way the camera keeps going and pans, and you see the dragon mounted on a distant mountaintop there, flying, as if to say, "More are coming." Anyway, I thought that was a great trailer, except for the what the hell? Something just fell. Except for the aforementioned magic spell, which looked like poop. Anyway, so I was not able to get back into Skyrim. I did finish Prey. I think I finished Prey before. Oh, was that super loud, Q? I'm one person. It's hard to see exactly what is going on everywhere. But I apologize. Yeah, I wasn't able to get back into it. I just wasn't. I mean, they could have shown a fireball, like a massive fireball. They should have faked that. It didn't even look like it was lighting up the environment around it, which I think it actually does. But that thing was just so underwhelming. Like, what the fuck was that? It was like would you even notice that if it hit you? I don't know. I wasn't able to get back into Skyrim. But if you haven't played it yet, I think it catches some flack because it's so popular, and so therefore, and because it's been re-released so many times. But I think it's hard to deny 30 million copies. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Q. They're working on part 6. I have friends who are working on part 6. In fact, I'm not supposed to. Well, this has nothing to do with that. I've probably shown this before. But if I haven't, if anyone, shoot, I don't want to get anyone in trouble. If you play Fallout 4, you look around Fallout 4, you look for this person in one of the vaults. Guess who that is? It's me. They put me in Fallout 4, which I found very sweet. Thought that it was very nice. And the person who did it was like, "Hey, I just thought you should know." I mean, it kind of looks like me, right? Sort of. That's certainly like my posture and my defeatist looking attitude, right? That's kind of how I present, probably, to most people. Bored and staring off into space. Something like that. Anyway. So yeah. Well, I worked on Elder Scrolls for many years, and a lot of the people that I worked with, worked on other stuff too. Well, if you know the Fallout 4 character creation engine, you know that they can't get all that close. Yeah, but he has my name. He has my name. So I finished Prey. I really enjoyed Prey. It's pretty amazing to me looking back on it now, and playing it, it's only a few years old, and playing it right after I'd finished Deathloop. Prey is the better game. Are you kidding me? Kirkbride was my hero. He interviewed, so Michael Kirkbride, for those of you who don't know, he's responsible for a lot of like the crazy Elder Scrolls lore, a lot of the Argonian stuff, and Khajiit stuff, a lot of the, like I've talked about this before, I think he's the one that kind of came up with the idea that the Argonians travel by way of an underswamp worm tunnel network where they get swallowed by the worm, quickly digested, and travel via peristalsis underground, kind of like Elon Musk's boring tunnels, but just imagine them contracting ever so slightly to push you along. And then they excrete you in your destination, at your destination. So, he came up with a lot of like weird lore like that. And I remember we were interviewing him because he had left, and it wasn't on great terms. He had left. He wasn't on great terms with Todd Howard. But everybody who was there was like a massive fan of him and his writing. And I remember when he came in, interviewing him and talking to him and just being kind of starstruck. But to be fair, like there were a lot of people that I worked with at ZeniMax and that who were not, I don't know about idols, but they were, people that I had looked up to in a lot of ways. I remember Zeb Cook, who was instrumental. I think he created the Dungeons and Dragons expert set, and was instrumental in writing a lot of like my favorite modules and rule sets. He created Planescape Torment. And I was, he was like, his office was 2 doors down from mine. Lawrence Schick, who became the lead lore master there for a while, he wrote a lot of my favorite Dungeons and Dragons modules, and was responsible for things like the deities and demigods, and created, he didn't create, but he created the myconoids, those kind of fungal creatures, a bunch of stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, it was fun. Oh, good night, Katerina. I wish that the environment was better, like just across the board, I wish the industry environment was better, really. And I wish the pay was better. Pay was not good. Anyway. Yes. A lot of people took inspiration from Frank Herbert. But they were things that you wouldn't see in like traditional fantasy settings, right? Like generally, I mean, Oblivion was considered to be very vanilla compared to Morrowind. And a lot of that was because Michael Kirkbride, well, I can't say how much of it, but some of it was due to the fact that Michael Kirkbride was not involved in Oblivion. He was very heavily involved in Morrowind. So a lot of the stuff with like Vivek and the sort of creepy, sort of incestuous stuff and like weird, just very bizarre lore, a lot of that came straight from Michael Kirkbride. Anyway, so yeah, when it comes to like the future of what we're doing here, I think like what I realized and what y'all have been telling me, frankly, like for a while, like you all have made this obvious. This is like, I'm sort of surplus to requirements for this. Like it's become more of like a sort of, this is a place where some people come, and occasionally new people drop by, other people rip to the goat, drop away after a while. He didn't die, I don't think. I don't really know. What is this? Oh, that was, I just showed something. I didn't have any idea what it was. That could have gone either way. But so it's, yeah, it's a place for, it's like Cheers, Lexi. I think that is a generationally appropriate. Was he the goat? I don't know. Was he the goat? I got this flesh on me. As your skin, the thing about that flesh is it, as it warms up, it becomes softer and softer, and it turns almost into, almost just like lip gloss or something, lip moisturizer. It probably is. They just charge a premium on it. Now I got this thing here. Anyway, so what I'm doing during this time, maybe what I need to do is not be so demanding of what it is that I'm doing or scheduling, and just like kind of have like, and maybe have it be a little more informed by what people want to hear or want to talk about. And that seems to be when I feel like at the end of it, I feel more satisfied, more fulfilled by the experience in general. Right? When I try to do things like specifically address political issues or newsworthy events, whether they're actually newsworthy or not, that's obviously up for debate. When I feel like I need to pursue those things, that's when I begin to feel like a bit of a sham. I don't have the motivation to pursue the sort of in-depth political analysis that I feel like it would be incumbent upon me to have, to do much more than just kind of like I do, like, talk a little bit of shit about Trump or even Biden, or whatever, if something in particular is going on. But when I've tried to be more systemic about, like, hey, I'm going to analyze this video of Jordan Peterson, and let's talk about that for an hour. I don't think that I don't enjoy that so much. I tend to lose steam, and I tend to feel like this is also like something that's already, I just feel like I'm regurgitating stuff at that point. Same thing when it comes to like reacting to things, although technically I just reacted to the Skyrim trailer. But, well, because I don't have anything to add to the discourse. I don't have anything of worth to add to the discourse. And then it begins to feel to me like I'm regurgitating what I've heard on other news sites, or on other news sites, on news sites. I don't really want to do that. It's not even, that I don't want to do. I want to feel good at the end of this. I want to feel like, oh, well, that was enjoyable. And I get that when I have to be in the mood, right? Like I'm kind of a grumpy person, as you've called out numerous times already this evening. But then I feel like I get that dopamine hit from interacting with the people who hang out. So why shouldn't I do that? Like, that's what, because ultimately, I mean, what it comes down to is, if I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to end up not doing it. And I don't want that to be the case. So I'm not saying that, like, I won't have, like, there won't be a week where it's like I really want to talk about like this one particular thing. Um, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? When we were talking about the goat. We were talking about applying makeup to one's face. We were talking about Skyrim and Fallout. Biden's press conference. Trump's interview with Steve Inskeep.
When you look at Langhofer, I disagree with him as an attorney. I did not think he was a good attorney to hire. I don't know what his game is, but I will just say this. You look at the findings, you look at the number of votes, go into Detroit, and just ask yourself, is it true that there are more votes than there are voters? Look at Pennsylvania.
Whoa,
look at
wait a minute. There's more votes than voters?
Is it true that there were far more votes than there were voters?
It is not true that there were far.
It is not true. That's a pretty tough problem.
It is not true that there were far more votes than voters. There was an early count. I've noticed you've talked about this in rallies, and you've said reportedly this is true. I think even you know that was an early report that was corrected later.
Well, you take a look at it. You take a look at Detroit. In fact, they even had a hard time getting people to sign off on it because it was so out of balance. They called it out of balance.
It's out of balance.
You take a look at it. You know the real truth, Steve. And this
Steve,
election
you know the
was
truth.
A rigged election.
Why is it that you think that the vast majority of your allies in the United States Senate are not standing behind you? We did have that statement by Mike Rounds.
Because Mitch McConnell is a loser. And
I really just wanted to hear him say, Mitch McConnell is a loser.
More than what we think we deserve.
I like trolling. So I do think that it's interesting when shit like that. I don't miss Trump. I don't miss him. I don't want him in any position to be making any sort of decisions. I would like to once every couple of months hear him rant just for the sheer entertainment value and hear someone who was actually president of the United States just saying the House Majority Leader is a loser. So, this makes me think you may be one of the enemy funds. I've had to, talking to my family over Christmas, had some of those incidents where, I had to avoid. It wasn't so much avoiding talking about Republicans or Democrats, but deification of Elon Musk, right? That's something that everybody is talking about. So I just don't. Oh, do I have plans? Sorry, Q. Yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to shut it down. I think I'm going to shut down the Patreon. I may do memberships through the YouTube channel, but I don't feel comfortable doing that unless I have, I'm producing more stuff. And that would just kind of take the place of Patreon. But I know it. I know a lot of the people currently on my Patreon are there just because they've forgotten. Right. And that feels exploitative to me. It doesn't feel great to me about that. So if I were to switch to a membership thing and just do it all through YouTube, that would weed out the people who are just there because they forgot. Right. Yeah. I don't have the time to do anything there. So it just doesn't seem fair to me. Oh boy, I'm gonna peel this one off. This is actually quite satisfying. Can I do it? See that? And sometimes when you peel it off and it leaves little bits on either side. Let me peel this one off. If it leaves a bit on either side, it just looks more realistic. Can I? This one's not. I shouldn't have used that other flesh because it's made everything kind of slick and hard to grab onto the edges of this. For those of you who don't know that I put, there we go, stuff all over my face, you may think this is disgusting, but it's makeup. Well, it's applications. So yeah, like that actually helped this one, right? It looks more realistic now than it did before. Well, I'm not going to turn off Super Chat. If I could just disable it for certain people, I would. I'm not going to do that. I don't mind, because that's proactive. That's push, or that's pull, not push. Whereas like right now, I just feel like there's probably some people on my Patreon who like, if they were reminded of the fact that they're still a member of my Patreon, they would be like, oh shit, let me disable that. So if I disable Patreon and have the YouTube membership stuff ready to go, then people who really want to will do the YouTube membership, and people who don't, then I don't feel like I'm ripping them off. It's true. Oh, no, this is business 101, right? Like you get someone as a subscriber in any forum, right? And the best thing that you can do is like never mention it to them again. Like even putting stuff out can be risky, because even if you're providing them with something, it reminds them that you are on the potential chopping block of things to be trimmed, right? Well, I mean, it depends, right? Like there are people for whom, if $50 every month, they're not even going to notice it. It won't even be a blip to them, and it's probably hypocritical of me, but that is the rationale I use for why I haven't shut it down yet. My rationale is, if you are in a position where you are if anyone was ever in that position that they were like, hey, I need you to refund me that money, I would do it. But two, if you're in the position where every dollar matters, you're very unlikely to have any sort of membership that you're just going to forget about. But I don't know if that's just me rationalizing my kind of laziness there. I'm gonna have to audit it. Maybe some of it can just be made public or unlisted, or put on a playlist. Unlisted, but on a playlist, maybe that is accessible via the Discord or even like through a post. I don't know. I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to just like lose stuff if there's stuff there that people actually want. I don't think there is much though. It's mostly what is there. It's either pictures or short videos. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, for most people it's like $1, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're just working the numbers at that point. If you can get 3% of them to forget they did it. And that's where things like Honey, there's a few apps now that will scour your memberships to make sure that you're not paying for anything you didn't know you were still paying for. Honey's not actually one of them. There's a couple of Mint. Is it Mint? There's a few. Not familiar with the names offhand. But that's sort of the direction I want to go in. Is I want to leave the Patreon game, do some kind of membership thing, probably deliver on doing these weekly still, but then also whenever it grips me, whenever I feel like doing it, True Bill, Lexi. Yes. Not, and yeah, Mint is one of them, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that going forward. So yeah, I played Prey and finished. I didn't finish this thought, so I want to finish this thought. I played Deathloop and finished it, and then I played Prey and finished it. And I think Prey is the better game. However, I don't know the details on this, Q. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't know why I would do memberships on this channel. It's yeah, I don't know. I gotta think about that. Anyway, but it was very interesting because Prey, I think, is the superior experience on the whole. But it is clunky as hell from a gameplay perspective compared to Deathloop. Deathloop, I don't know if it's just a combination of taking advantage of the PS5's haptic feedback. The combat is just so much better, so much more satisfying, and I don't even like combat. When I started playing Prey, I almost stopped because it was just like, ooh, this feels like, 2008, like a game from 2008. It's from how clunky it felt. But I'm a sucker for anything that's like System Shock, and Prey is a lot like System Shock. You're stuck on a space station. Some crazy stuff is happening. You figure it out through the old trope of piecing together emails and voice recordings from the personnel who have gone on to meet their end. And then, like a third of the way through Prey, bam, they hit you with Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins, both his voice and his appearance. That was a lovely little surprise. I'm a fan of Walton Goggins. For those of you who don't know, Walton Goggins is an actor. He's in a lot of Danny McBride stuff. He was in The Hateful Eight, Unicorn, does a bunch of stuff. Very funny guy. And he plays a volunteer prisoner in Prey. One of the few surviving members of the crew of the Talos where you are. And his model looks a lot like him. So that was nice because I saw him and I was like, that looks like Walton Goggins. And sure enough, I got his voice and he was doing that Southern thing that he does. You won't believe what's going on up there in C-Deck. I mean, you can't just put me in you're not going to, don't do that. What are you doing? He plays Baby Bobby Billy on The Righteous Gemstones. He's lovely. Yeah. Yeah, I found it easy. And then there was like a section right at the end that was hard, which I won't talk about, but I did find it pretty clunky. But hey, and the enemies got pretty redundant pretty quick. Like, how many types of enemies were there? 4 or 5 at most. And I also got OP like really quick. So it just became a matter of scouring for resources. So I would say, like, I really enjoyed the first 2/3 of Prey, and then the last third was all right. Oh, good night, Maddie. Yeah, same to you. I hope you sleep well. Yeah, Goggins voiced the prisoner, a prisoner, one of the prisoners that they were doing things were happening to. I mean, I could really divulge the whole story of Prey. It's kind of pretty generic and sort of it's interesting insofar as the characters themselves are interesting. But if I just gave you like the elevator pitch, you'd be like, oh, so like everything else, right? I won't, but it's not like there's not like this twist. I guess there's a little bit of a twist at the end, but it's not like one you couldn't see coming. And it almost seems like it was kind of tacked on. So, and then I just recently installed Moon Crash. A dozen? I don't think so. I think you are over counting the enemies, but maybe you're right. It feels like there's only a couple because they're just different shapes. Like they all look the same. And the strategies are pretty much, for all of them, for me at least, were spam a particular power until all are dead and then continue. But I liked Prey. So if you, and once you get over that initial hurdle, I'm really kind of going back and forth on if I should play the remastered Alan Wake, in part because I want to maybe do an Alan Wake video. I don't know. But my memory of Alan Wake was I didn't love it that much. There were things about it that I liked, but to me, and this may just be my memory. Maybe if I go back and play the remastered version, I will love it. But I just remember it was a lot of running. It was a lot of running to a safe spot. And I'm not a fan of that kind of gameplay. I'm not a fan of Outlast. I'm not really a fan of Amnesia. I'm not a fan of you can't kill these things. Just run. Just run. Hide, run, hide, run, hide. Not a huge fan of that stuff. He does definitely seem to have like this is his persona, right? But it's so endearing. Yeah. He's got a great name too, Walton Goggins. I followed him on social media, and it was a little bit like flailing his tequila a little too much, flogging his tequila a little too much. But seems like a nice guy. Anyway, am I misremembering? See, here's my recollection of Alan Wake. Please correct me if I'm wrong. There's a bunch of spotlights. Like every level you get it, it's like, okay, you're in the woods. It's dark. And there are these lights powered by generators sometimes. You run from one light to the next light. And then to the next light. And then the light breaks and you have to fix the light. And then, that's my, apart from like some of the story bits, my predominant gameplay memory of Alan Wake is running. But maybe I'm not. Ava, I'm interested. So I never finished Disco Elysium. In fact, I didn't really get very far. I played it online. I maybe got 6 hours into it. Definitely worth playing, would you say, like to completion? Oh, I don't know that rewatching the stream is worth it, but let me see something here. How do I do this again? Can I do this? Can I do it? What? Oh no, I'm not. That's why. Sorry. Hold on. Stay with me for a minute here. if you like. Or don't. Here we go. Throwing that out there. Can I do more than one at a time? I guess I can't do more than one at a time. Okay. Oh, I know. But it's like that thing where you go see your friend's band and then there's only like 3 people watching, and all of a sudden, like, it's very difficult for you to sneak out. If you sneak out, your friend in the band is going to watch you leave, and you feel bad about it. Oh, this is a good idea too. No. Yeah, sort of like, alert, you are all subscribed to a service that is not really delivering anything. Be aware of it. Okay, let's end the poll. There. I just want to engage with the poll. Gotta engage. What else can I ask? I got a keyboard that I like. I know it's kind of crap keyboard. It's a Keychron. But the thing I like about it is that I can just hit Control and then 1, 2, or 3 and control either my home computer, my work computer, or even like my phone. If I'm like talking to somebody, I don't want to use the damn phone keyboard. I can use this. I got brown switches though. You know what brown switches mean, right? Brown switches mean clackety clack, which I love, but a lot of people don't love. What else can I ask? What game should I play next? Should it be Disco Elysium? Should it be Alan Wake Remastered? Should it be Guardians of the Galaxy? That's not a joke. I actually have heard good things about that as far as like its format and its storytelling, even though I don't like superhero movies. Right, that's actually not a joke. It's one of the ones I've been thinking about. What else? Oh, Prey. Moon Crash. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Clickety clackety. Well, my favorite keyboard is this is my favorite keyboard, which is, Vortex. And this is like a serious keyboard, right? It's got the best switches that I've felt for me personally, but it's not wireless. But even just doing it now, what I love about it is the way the keys bevel up towards the top. The Keychron, they don't quite do that as much. But even just doing it now, it feels so much better than the Keychron. Oh, having problems with laggy video? Is that? Wow. That 30 seconds before? That is crazy. Well, so y'all had you got a preview of the future. What do you mean I never check my messages? I'm checking right now. What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, by the way, hi, Maury. I didn't see you until now. Oh, man. I have some flesh hanging off my cheek. Yeah. I'm going to leave it. But that makes me want to play it. All right. What was the deal with the poll? End the poll. Show me the results of the poll. Wait a second. Oh, shit. Okay. So, Disco Elysium won. I may or may not heed the advice. But it's good to know. Well, I did stream it for a while. I will wash my face in a few minutes. Shortly after the end of the stream, which, if you hear the music, it's coming soon. Yeah, sometimes you just have some skin hanging off. I'll tell you, winter sucks for me for this. Like, my skin is so dry. I'm just constantly moisturizing and have humidifiers going. I'd check it right now. I don't know what's... I don't see anything. I'm literally on Discord right now. And I have an alert within the Cult of Grinning Martyrs, which I don't see. It doesn't look like it's directed at me. I don't have any DMs. I don't have any Discord DMs. I am sorry. Oh, it's because it's old. Yes. And I read it, and then I was, just the timing was bad. Sorry, Q. I can probably answer. I can answer. Can I answer the questions here? Q? Do you mind if I answer them right now? Live? No, I know how to check them. I checked it, and it was during a time when I didn't have time, and then I forgot about it. I apologize. But if I can answer them right now, I can do that. Okay, I just want to be sure there weren't answers that you were okay with me doing it publicly. Okay, so why did I get special thanks on the Jimmy Neutron game? Because it was, I probably did some writing on it and maybe some level design. It was made by the game development company that I started with a couple of friends. So there was only like 8 of us at the time that Jimmy Neutron came out. There were maybe 8 of us in the whole company. So, some of us would be working on multiple things at once. I was not primarily working on Jimmy Neutron. I was working on SpongeBob, but did some stuff for Jimmy Neutron. But I don't remember exactly what. It was a long time ago. Charities I endorsed, Gideon's Promise, Innocence Project. I'm a big fan of the Innocence Project, so that would probably be... these I can't really answer, right? These are more like things to do. Do I want to make a PDF with the writing contest entries in it? That way those who have not been read on stream can still be read by those interested. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. It may take a little bit of effort, but and then yeah, sure. I mean the hoodies, yeah, on the last one. So there you go. Got the music kicking in. The knockoff Life is Strange music. Oh, I should have put Life is Strange 2 because I haven't finished, or 3. Life is Strange True Colors. I didn't put that on the poll. I have that, I haven't finished it. Anyway. I enjoyed seeing everybody see, so this to me was a successful stream. I feel better now than I did when it started, and that's the whole point, is for you all to make me not depressed. I don't help you in any way. I have blood on my hands still. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wash my face. Well, before I go though, watch if you trying to demonstrate some of the techniques I use here. If you scrape away like bits of it, damn it, it's not working the way I want it to. Usually if you scrape away bits of it, it just makes it look more real. I really have to dig in there. It's just going to turn my skin super red. Ouch. Actually, kind of hurting. Ow. There we go. That was a good piece of it. And now it actually, well, now it's red, so you got to wait for it to get less angry. But it will look a little more realistic usually if I break it up by tearing pieces off. Tear a piece off here. Anyway, that's rigid colloidin for the person who wants to look janky. All right, so I'll see you all next week, if not sooner. Depends on stuff. Big snowstorm coming. Wish me luck. Yeah, see, KJ, this is true. Yeah, the more you fuck with it, the more it actually looks like there's something there. But the key to that, like for scars, just in case, or bruises, is a little bit of green. Usually, like what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of green and then a little bit of like a dark, almost gray red painted, and then I'll put the rigid colloidin over it. And that helps. Anyway, it's amazing to me, like when I go back and look at, which I have like once or twice, just to see like what I did to my face I did a video that was, the premise was I got old as the video went on. And I remember doing like the old me makeup. I basically just filmed it in reverse, right? I put a whole bunch of old me makeup on, then filmed the last section, then removed a little bit of it, then filmed the second to last section, and then just kept removing a little bit of it until I was fresh-faced, young at that time, 44-year-old me or whatever. And that ended up working fairly well. But I actually look at that, and even though it looks like ridiculous, I kind of think it looks like a neat ridiculous. But it's also interesting to think, like, at that time I was literally, I would have a can light, with a light bulb in it for a light. It was fun. Yes, yellow works too, KJ, yes. Yellow and green. In fact, there's a... called this a scar wheel, or a bruise wheel. You got the yellow and the green and the brown and the red. These are all Marron, which I'm not sponsored by or anything, but they make good shit, I think, right? It's probably for people who really do it. They think it's terrible, but I find it quite useful. Anyway, okay. I'm gonna go, but thanks for hanging out tonight, and I will see you all soon. Indigo, good night. Night, everybody. Take care.